How's it going, guys? I got something a little bit different for you today. I was actually in real life tournament with some of the UW people. Again, a lot of us didn't really have holiday plans except for to just hang out with each other. It's a pretty tight-knit group. It's I didn't mind it at all. You know, you don't need to dress up and go out and really do anything. I was like, you know what? Let's attend this tournament that they are planning, which was an NPC tournament, where you pick an NPC from either the game, the anime, or the manga. You look at their pool of Pokemon that they've used on Wikipedia, and you basically, you know, just pick an NPC and just go with it. So the one major rule to this was that if there was multiple iterations of the same NPC, you were allowed to use all of their Pokemon. I know this meant, like, if there was like a gold in the anime, there was like a golden video game, golden manga, or whatever. But that also blanket applies to Officer Jenny and every single one of the Jennies in every single one of the generations. So I figured I would just take that to heart, and the Jennies have a pretty damn solid pool. Like, if you took out Fairthorn and Azumarill, I would be so happy to use this as a UU team. In fact, I may just augment it and use it for like a UU series and Showdown later, because I had so much fun with this team. I'm not really aware of what everybody else's NPC was. I can ask them later and like post edit it in like an annotation or like in the description or maybe even in the title if I have enough room. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. What I do know for now, going back to the game, because I didn't talk about the feat turns, they were just pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Fairthorn was going to wall Butterfree to high hell. You can take it on 1v1 because it doesn't really care about Sleep Powder. Right there, I didn't really mind so much the crit as I did the freeze, because the crit was guaranteed to him after he got the focus energy off anyway, so it was like, okay. I was just going to blast you with another Power Whip. Now that I'm taken out, it's not that big a deal because I do still have Manectric. I've got plenty of things I can still deal with the Kingdra, so I'm not bothered by it, especially because it's this early in the game, and I still have Manectric and a really good opportunity to Mega. So back to Fairthorn versus Butterfree just to catch up for a little bit though. 1v1, I eat that matchup alive. I can Gyro Ball, I can set up Stealth Rock and Leech Seed. And then that basically explains like the first 3 turns what I was doing in there, so I didn't really care about that too much. But you'll notice that my entire team is Mega Man themed. This was basically just an impulse decision because I was like, you know what? I need a different Manectric that has HP Ice, and I was like, oh, you know what? It kind of looks like, it kind of has the same color palette as Bass's dog, Treble. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm already using an Arcanine, we'll just name it Rush, and we'll just name the entire team. So we'll just go with it. So, he brings in his Golem. I didn't really care about that too much. The one thing I was really fearing was that this thing was actually going to end up being weakness policy, just because of my own Showdown session. I'm not sure whether or not he's actually subscribed to me. If you are, hey dude, what's up? But I see that he's using lefties after I believe I got the rapid spin off on that turn. So I was like, you know what? I don't have to worry about weakness policy. I'm just going to go for a Scald. If I get the burn, that would be absolutely hilarious to take him out. I had a couple of other things happen where I got burns happening in order to take somebody out on their last bit of HP, or like really close to red, but I never got like a Scald burn in order to, or maybe I did. I really don't remember. He gets 5 hits on the Rock Blast, which is actually pretty impressive. It does a good amount of damage. It actually does around half to Blastoise. That's a max Blastoise. That is ready to take any physical hit you can toss in its direction. Max, Bold, you name it, he's got it. So it's going to go for another Scald just to finish off this guy. Not a big deal. Not too worried about the team overall. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what NPC everybody picked. People were asking me what NPC I picked, but I was just so tunnel visioned on the game and how much I was enjoying the team. Like, I didn't really even practice with it. I was like, damn, this just looks so good on paper. I need this. So he Sucker Punches. I know it's not gonna do jack shit until this Toxic Orb actually activates, or his Flame Orb, whichever one he has going on. And I was like, I'm gonna Scald. The smarter play would have been to Roar, so that way he wouldn't have just gotten this boost off period. But it looks like he's got Toxic Orb, which means that he's probably not committing on staying in longer than 3 turns. Which at the amount of HP he's at, he could easily just go for 1 or 2 hits and then just dip out of there, because this thing probably has Facade, Sucker Punch, U-Turn, and a 4th move, which I wasn't really aware of at the moment. Excuse me for not knowing standard Raticate sets off the top of my head, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and go into Gengar right now, and I know the only thing he realistically has to touch me that I can remember off the top of my head is Sucker Punch. So I'm just gonna keep subbing while he keeps, you know, maybe going for stuff. I was, you know, potentially planning on just stalling him out there, but he reveals Zen Headbutt, which I didn't even realize I had. So that's the one thing he can actually use to touch subbing ghost types. And right here, I 100% disagree with this play. I really do believe he should have gone for Zen Headbutt on this one, because even if I took him out, I would not be behind a sub, and he would not have had to put another Pokemon in danger. So that was a very high-risk play for not a lot of reason. I had no reason not to go for sub again. But he goes into Raichu, which now thanks to Gen 6, this is actually a speed tie. They're both 110, pretty awesome. And he's actually just going to go for a T-Bolt right here to break my sub. Now, going back to what I was saying before, I believe he's actually... Oh, he's Air Balloon Raichu. I'm not sure if T-Bolt probably would have done 75% to Gengar. I feel like I'm underestimating Raichu. But everybody does because it's disappointing. Would that have done 75%? Maybe. Would that have done 65 and I would have knocked him out and then died to my own life orb? Yeah, probably. He would have been in a better situation than he was now, especially because Butterfree comes in and just ends up dying to a combination of rocks and Shadow Ball. I don't know why I went for Shadow Ball, to be honest. I could have just gone for Sludge Wave. I know Shadow Ball's a little bit weaker on the base power, just for whatever reason thought Bug resisted poison in that instance. And then he goes into Dodrio, and I was like, oh, this could maybe be a mild problem. It's like, wait, I still have Manectric, so it's not that big a deal. But I just go for another Sludge Wave, clean him out, and that was the first game in the prelims bracket. How these tournaments usually work is because of the attendance, they usually split off the people in groups of either 5 or 6, and they just round robin them off, and then the top 2 from each bracket move on to the finals bracket, which is a round robin between 6 people. So these first couple of games, I believe it's 4 games. This next one was part of it as well, but this is me basically fighting in the, I guess, the prelims bracket in order to get onto the next one. Now, moving on to this next one, where are we at in Sony Vegas? We're about to get there, so I can take a little bit of time to explain what we had going on with this next game as soon as that happens. But I've got, like, what? There's this video, and then there's, like, 2, maybe 1 more battle after, 2 more battles after this, or maybe 1 more. I don't know. Let me move on. The Champions Brag was a lot more interesting. As you can see, he's running like a pseudo dedicated rain thing. I'm not sure if that was a special D-Knight or like a mixed D-Knight at all, but he's got Politoed, which is undoubtedly going to have Drizzle. He's got Starmie, undoubtedly with Hydro Pump and Thunder, and then Mega Ampharos is the only potential Mega I see on here, and that actually kind of terrifies me because I can't use Manectric for Lightning Rod. I can't hold on to the Mega because Mold Breaker will go through my Lightning Rod and actually just deal a pretty substantial amount of damage. My one switch, believe it or not, to this is Assault Vest Azumarill, and that's actually going to come into play a little bit later, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So for now, jumping into it, looking at his team, Gengar eats the lead matchup alive. Like, it's perfect. Nidoqueen, the best thing it can do with most of the sets that I know of, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Stealth Rock, and probably Dragon Tail or some iteration of that. I'm actually just going to go ahead and sub up on it. And if this seems faster, I sped it up a little bit more than the other one just because, you know, it's a little bit longer. I don't want the video to be too long, but it's still got to be interesting. So, I sub as he switches to Wigglytuff. I'm not sure if he was AV or whatever, but Life Orb Sludge Wave just tears this thing apart. Like, it didn't really work out at all. I don't know if he thought I wasn't going to have Sludge Wave or just space on that. I didn't really mind too much. And then right here, I believe he goes for the rocks. I go for the Shadow Ball. It turns out to be that's a pretty solid 2-hit KO, if you ask me. I believe even after Black Sludge or Lefties, if that's what he's running. I don't think this was worth it, just because the most Stealth Rock weak thing I had on my team was Arcanine, and given the matchup against this rest of his team, I didn't really care too much about Arcanine. I wanted to keep it around for extreme speed, which means I wouldn't be switching it in that much anyways, but I mean, outside of that, that's fine. So I'm still behind a sub, and you're gonna see this Gengar like put in a lot of work these first couple of games, because this is ridiculous. So multi-scale kicks in there, and he just ends up taking not a lot of damage here, but he goes for DD, and he has to go for some to break my sub, otherwise this is just going to continue. So he goes for an Outrage right here, revealing that that's the one thing he has. He's probably Outrage, EQ, E-Speed, so that's the one thing he has to touch Gengar. But I mean, I might as well just go for another Sludge Wave, knock him out, and then look at that, like, lead sweeping with a Gengar. I've got the first game that did that, and I've got this one where it just took out half this man's team, and it's just terrifying. So Politoed's going to come in. I do actually kind of want to save this thing. I'm not 100% why. I probably could have just safely sacked it right here. I'm actually glad I didn't in hindsight, though, and you'll see why in a little bit. But for now, I'm going to go back into Blastoise, and a Blastoise is always a safe switch in this, and this is as good a time as any to actually just go ahead and spin away the Stealth Rocks, just because, you know, chip damage does matter. I've learned that in a couple of games before this as well, you know. Countless years I've learned that Stealth Rock can be kind of a big thing, and if you have the opportunity to blow them away, and if you have the means to get them off the field, and you find the opportunity to, a reasonably safe one, you should just take it. You should just take it. So, right here, I make a fatally big misplay right here. I did not expect this Ampharos to be agility. To be fair, I've only run into maybe 2 or 3 people that have run that in real life. For the most part, what I was used to is the Restox Dragon Pulse Volt switch set, which is why I actually just switched out to Ferrothorn. I was like, you know what? He's not going to have Focus Blast. I'll just eat all these attacks alive and Leech Seed him, and then just, I forgot if I got my own rocks up. I'm pretty sure I did not at this point, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, he's just going to go for an agility, and this means that he unfortunately does in fact have Focus Blast, and I'm at full HP, but boom, get smashed. This thing just destroys me, so that's fine. But given the fact that he does have Drizzle going on, I switch in Azumarill, and I'm thinking, wait, there's probably not a way I can take a Thunder from an Ampharos, and if he put this team together for this, he undoubtedly has Thunder. So I remember that right in the nick of time. I kind of want to say that this was kind of a juke play just to scout whether or not he had it. This is also to stall out the rain, because now Thunder is not set accuracy, Thunder is 70% accuracy, which means I'm going to bring it back in and risk it for the biscuit, and I get it. But it turns out I did a damage calc, and even if he was modest Mega Ampharos, according to Showdown, let me pull up my Skyblog, because I just sent that calc to somebody. That is a Ampharos Thunder, not Mega Ampharos Thunder. Oh, so I probably would have died to that. Whoops, because regular Ampharos' Thunder, modest does like 80%, but I'm not sure if timid Mega Ampharos' Thunder is a comparable number. I'll get back to you guys on whether or not that mattered. I'll probably just post a comment in the description. But yeah, if that miss mattered, that probably would have swept my whole team. That probably would have been game right there. Anything that could have died to Thunder would have died to Thunder. I think my best shot probably would have been like E-speeding with Arcanine and like HP icing with Manectric, but it definitely would have been a pretty uphill struggle from there. So it's going to go for a knockoff right here just to see what item he is. And it turns out that I should not have knocked that off, because now he is now he's free to go for Scald. I should have just let him keep going for Focus Blast and just gone for the play rough right there. The worst thing I did was I just extended the game by like 2 or 3 turns, because now I just Waterfall. I thought the Rain Boost was going to compensate for my burn, but it turns out I could have just kept going for play roughs, to be honest. There's a resistance, and now there's a burn on top of that. But it's okay. I actually take him out of the next one and still preserve my score standing, because the amount of Pokemon that your opponent takes out, the amount of Pokemon that you take out from your opponent's side, like if you win, you get 6 points in your bracket. And then if you lose, the amount of Pokemon that you took out from your opponent are added to your points total. And then the person that gets, the top 2 people from the bracket that get the most points advance to the finals round. And then from there, the top 3 are first, second, and third. And then there's prizes and stuff like that. So yeah, that was 2 of my games. I normally don't do double headers, but that first one was like 6 minutes, and the other one was like a little bit longer than 6 minutes, like a 6-minute video on a Saturday. Come on, like half of you guys don't work. You got nothing better to do than just sit around and watch like a 14-minute Pokemon video. That sounds like a good plan. So, with that in mind, that was my first 2 games from this this NPC tournament. Did I say I was Officer Jenny? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said I was Officer Jenny. I can even list in the description where she got all these Pokemon from, / which Jenny's got what. But yeah, if you guys are liking this series, let me know. Now that I have this capture card, it's really easy to just go record everything to it, come back, and just dump it all, and just be like, yeah, this is a now series thing, folder thing, and just leave it on my desktop and just be like, boom, 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 boom. It'll be like Showdown, but it'll actually be like NPC XY in the title. It's pretty sick. I'm liking where this is going. So if you guys enjoying this too, definitely feel free to drop a like, rating, comment, rate, subscribe, you know, do your thing, whatever that consists of these days. And that should do it. I'll see you guys on the next episode, because this is in fact a series. Baby.